Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Movie Screeners Club podcast. I'm your host, Sophia Falk. The Movie Screeners Club is brought to you by Designing Hollywood Productions in association with Gardena Cinema. If you want to win the chance to have your short film screened in a huge cinema and the opportunity to be interviewed on our podcast, please submit your short film today to moviescreenersclub@gmail.com.
Hi, my name is Alex Chang. I am a director here in Los Angeles, and I am the writer and director of BAAAAAAA. BAAAAAA is a short film that I made last year that tells a story of five sheep-masked bank robbers who have to duck and weave through like absurd escapades in order to kind of evade the embrace of the law. And that's kind of like the synopsis that you get on paper. But as you kind of experience the film as like an audience member or a viewer, it's definitely way more than what the synopsis presents itself. Uh, but yeah, it was a project that I did last year with an incredible incredible talented crew that I was friends with at Berkeley. So like I collaborated with different artists at Berkeley, different actors, a lot of actors in this one. I think that my art department team really was an integral part to the creation of this film. So a huge shout out to like my art department team. I worked with like it was my first time working with a director of photography that wasn't myself. So that was an awesome experience too, getting to have collaborations with a bunch of different people with a multitude of different skill sets. And I finally got to take like a little bit of a back seat, which was the director's seat, right? With I didn't have to interfere with like a lot of the technicalities of the film or any of the designs of the film. I think I just gave my input, and my team just like ran with it. And there was one thing that I told everybody, which was kind of like an aesthetic through line for the entire film, which was there is like this childlike quality to the entire film, as if a kid is retelling like a story about robbing a bank. Like we are
Yeah.
seeing his or her or their imagination of how this entire thing is playing out, and we are like the parents kind of uh listening in, and then when something absurd happens we're like, okay, wait, what, like backtrack a bit, like what are you talking about?
But you're our first like horror movie, like
That is
genre
insane.
is unsettling.
I'm like incredibly honored. Yeah, I wouldn't even consider Ball like fully like a horror movie. I think it has like some horror elements
It's
to it for sure.
it's
It's
more
trippy.
like
It's trippy as
sickening.
hell, man.
It's very in your face. It's very like confrontational. Like it gets right in there. It's loud, and um, um it's kind of like something that you just cannot get rid of. And I think that's something that I want to see, like when or at least what I want to feel when I go back and rewatch it on a bigger screen.
Yeah, there's some scenes where you really get up close and personal. Like I'm just thinking because it's fresh in my mind right now, the spaghetti scene at the very end.
Oh
That
God.
that's
Yeah,
gonna be so with silence and him just like scarfing spaghetti and breathing heavily. Like that's gonna be everyone's gonna be dead silent. It's gonna be crazy.
I think one thing that I also am excited for is like getting to see all the art department work on a bigger screen too, because I think that like that was a huge part of one, the conception of the film, but also like the charm of it as well. Getting to see like all these practical effects and getting to play with like different elements, kind of tapping into like arts and crafts, a little bit of
Yeah.
uh like a childish intuition. Like that was something that was really fun working with my art department team on with this project, and now getting to see that like on a bigger screen, like we get to see those little details that maybe we didn't get to see before, like on our phones or on our laptops. And
Right. When you wrote it, did you know how heavily involved the art department would have to be?
uh no, I already knew that like that I needed an incredible art department
Right.
before writing it. And so the art department and the ideas that I had for how I wanted it to feel and look and sound and it kind of dictated the way that I wrote.
Hmm.
Um, and this film having a little bit more of an emphasis on the visual style and like the visual language, I wasn't too concerned about actually the scripting process of the film. I was working with my director of photography, and instead of like making a traditional shot list, we just pulled out images from Shot Deck or images that we liked from Pinterest, or we literally took pictures on our phone and kind of compiled it together in like a string or a series of images that we would use as like as our script, right? So, okay, well, we have one character who's gonna who's gonna come in from this side of the frame, and we're gonna stay on him for a while, and we would have kind of like like a a, a good conception of what that shot was going to be,
Hmm.
so that like when we were actually there on location, we could run and gun, but also have a clear vision about like what exactly we wanted at the same time.
Hmm.
So, kind of an unconventional process of pre-production and scripting, and I think that was like that was really fun. It was really fun getting to go through that experience.
Is that how you usually go into projects? Kind of like head first visual, like first is visual and then second is story, or is this kind of like an experiment?
It definitely is an experiment, but it's an experiment that I've always kind of kept consistent, because like something that I always keep dear to myself, the kind of a philosophy is that like style is inherently substance,
Mhm.
because just by the way that you tell your story, or like the technique that you decide to choose, or like the things that you decide to put in the composition, what actors you decide to pick, the art department choices you decide to make will dictate kind of like an implication of a narrative.
Mhm.
And as long as those elements are strong, at least in the style that I like the most, then that narrative can really speak out on its own without having a bunch of characters needing to spill exposition, or need to have any dialogue, so that
Mhm.
the story can feel like cohesive. I think that like I kind of want to push the boundaries of what we can do with film, and I think this was an experiment towards that goal for sure.
Right. That's
No,
it's awesome.
yeah, no, it's super. No, for sure, the aesthetic is crazy. I love the vibe, and like the world building is like super dope on that. That's what I appreciate. It does feel like a totally different place from the start, so that's super cool. When it came to how to work with casting and all that,
Casting was like absolutely insane. So I am obviously like my characters are masked, so like
right,
there's
Yeah,
there's
no one has the
not
look
a lot
that
of
you're
acting
looking
here
for.
that you can have. Yeah, yeah. And
You
so
just went to a petting zoo, right? And
yeah, I went to a petting zoo, and I got like a whole bunch of sheep for this film that auditioned for this. But we it was really, that was also unconventional too. So I knew that like I couldn't give them like a script for them to memorize
Mhm.
before the audition.
right.
I couldn't give them like any sort of choreography. I think what I was like looking for was who physically kind of matched these caricatures of like this like a nuclear family, you know? And so but also who was able to perform in public without feeling self-conscious or feeling the shame of like, oh no, like I'm doing kind of like this crazy thing in a costume in public. So who can kind of break out of their comfort zone physically? That was what I was looking for like a film like this. So I brought there was like 30 people who auditioned for the film, and we brought them out to this place at Berkeley, Willard Park, and I had like a loose a prompt list of what I wanted them to do. And what ended up happening was that um, every single audition was different. I would be like, okay, can you like scream at the top of your lungs in the middle of this park? And some guy like screamed and did more, like he ran around the park, and then he sat down right next to these people who were having a picnic, and he had a conversation with them, and then
Damn.
uh, uh,
Really
I had
wanted the part.
yeah, the park. So it was we were public disturbances for like 3 days of auditioning, but that was kind of the process that I felt was the best to kind of to get into like the vibe of the film, which
Mhm.
is a little bit free form, but you kind of have to let go of these ideas of what is conventional for a
Yeah.
film that doesn't really follow a lot of conventions.
Was everybody a student?
Yes, everyone was a
Damn.
student, which was awesome
Mhm.
because there's so many talented young people that I met on this film, and the majority of them, all of them were students. I think there are a few that didn't go to Berkeley or except for the cannibal, the guy who played the
Yeah.
cannibal.
I was gonna say it doesn't look like a freshman.
Yeah. He's someone that we got from backstage.
Uh-huh.
Shout out Pablo San Francisco, but like he's awesome. He killed the role. That was the one non-student that we had on the film. So
What's it like making a film while being a full-time student or and working with a bunch of full-time students? Like, how do you find the time to shoot anything, to edit anything? Like what was that
yeah,
like?
so I had the benefit of not actually attending school that semester.
Mm.
So like I was there living at Berkeley because I needed to pay rent
Mhm.
for my apartment, and everybody else though they were attending classes.
Mhm.
So a lot of it had to come down to like my producer having to plan out, okay, what days work for people who are preoccupied with like schoolwork, right?
Right.
Yeah, for a film that requires them to be on set for like 3 to 4 hours per day,
Mhm.
and we were able to meticulously schedule so
Mhm.
that all those times could work because every what I was doing in between production was just making sure that the idea was straight for every single day of production.
Mhm.
And that was where like all my priorities were besides, living and that's how it worked. My producer did a great job making sure that like the shooting schedule matched up with the
Order.
chaos that was everybody else's schedule.
How long was the whole production pre to post?
It was so pre to post, it was like the entire semester.
Mhm.
Uh,
So this was like the project instead
yeah,
of
it was like 5 months.
Mhm.
And it also had to do with the fact that yeah, like everybody was so busy during the time,
Mhm.
uh, and especially with the cast list that we had, and also like the crew that we had too. There's a lot of discrepancies that we had to hop over in order to make that entire film work. So originally I was gonna be like, okay, we're gonna premiere this like midway through the semester. That did not end up happening at all.
It never
Um,
does.
yeah, it never does. And then at the end, we got to premiere everything. My cousin, my creative partner, he came down and he helped do the edit. So like the editing period was we gotta go because we were late on deadlines, guys. So we reached it and it was awesome. So
Mhm.
It's great. Speaking with like the whole post-production process too, sound was really dope, really cool in this movie. So how was that? Like, was it like, all right, on this scene, I want you to hit these sounds and like I figured something like that, but like how was that process?
yeah, so sound design was something that I think about a lot when it comes to films. And for sound design, I was just in my room, just ideating about what sounds I wanted for the film because the sounds help to dictate the vibe of the film, the feeling of the film.
Mhm.
So uh, a lot of it came down to, like I said, with like the essence of it too, like experimentation. Like, okay, well, we have the shot of like him outside by the park at night,
Mhm.
right? What else can I add to kind of create like this fictional world around him so that there is a level of immersion there? And that was a huge element into the sound design for the entire film, which was
Mhm.
okay, what sounds can I grab that maybe are like you don't see at all in the frame that you can implement so that you can imply like a larger imagination
Mhm.
beyond the thing that you see that the camera is capturing.
Mhm.
um and then as for a lot of the more unconventional sounds, right, like for example when we're in his perspective and then he gets hit by the cannibal and he's kind of like
Mhm.
in weird dreamic zone. That was heavily inspired by like what I think of when I think of how space sounds, because space has no sound but you can only think of like, okay, what would space sound like if it had the possibility of having a sound. And so that was something that I thought about when I came to like a lot of those spotlight sequences, um, the epilepsy stuff. Like, okay, what is cosmic chaos, and how can I like be creative about how that can be implemented as a soundscape in this film. So that was something that was pretty fun.
I also had another question when you were not to like obviously no spoilers or anything, but the first scene that you see, you know, they're doing a little drive. But that's in the back of a truck, right?
Movie magic. Movie magic.
All right, never mind.
It
I'm
just
just
never
Movie magic.
revealed.
Movie
some like
magic.
smoke and mirrors, huh? I just like I thought it was cool. I'm like, no way. I'm like, what is that truck? That's
But we literally rented out a cardboard car, guys.
yeah, that's it.
Come on,
You can
come
find
on. We
them.
literally
Production
rented
budget was through the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the cardboard car was built by I won't explain how it was moving, but like
Yeah. Okay.
it was built by like a really talented art department member, Tashi. They did a great job on the entire car, and so um uh
Yeah.
and it moved by itself. So what can I say?
Yeah, it was it's movie magic, man. To me, it just set the vibe though really well. Like as soon as I saw, you know, them in the car, I was like, all right, sick. This is badass, dude. I'm gonna watch this. I was stoked. I was stoked.
Awesome.
I also love how, especially that opening scene, but that opening scene is one shot. Like that kind of long shot where you hold it, you hold it, you hold it. So much happens. Like it's a full on, that could be a short film in and of itself, you know, just that opening shot. How do you, and also like the multimedia aspect where you switch and it's animation, sort of like stick figure animation type thing, or stop motion, I guess, is it kind of like stop motion esque? When do you make those stylistic decisions? Like, do you have that in mind? Do you say, okay, I'm going back to Berkeley. I know I want something that has, you know, I want to do a oneer. I want to have, you know, stick figures implemented with this film, like, or kind of like halfway through pre-production, are you like, I'm gonna make this so fucked up, it's insane.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. That's a great question. So like when it comes to the long takes and the long shots, that's everything done in pre-production. Those are all ideas that are pre-production. Because I know that I want to capture the full choreography in one go, and this entire film is kind of like a string of long takes, and that's the direction that I want to take, just so that we can view everything as like an objective viewer. And so that first sequence with the car, I knew right from the get-go, like that was like the first scene that I thought of for the film. I was like, okay, this is long take for this. We're going to kind of experience everything from the perspective of this family or all these sheep bank robbers, and then this will be like a great segue into the rest of these long takes that we're gonna show. As for like the animation, the mixed media, the stop motion, those are actually spontaneously conceived during the edit. So when I watch the film, I have kind of like an aura of what it is. And Ba to me was always like this childlike imagination. And so how can I ornament on that like even further, right? Which was, oh, when he crashes into him, let's cut to like a different level of like this kid's consciousness, right? Which is like this doodle universe that this person imagines. And so those are all just conceived in the edit. And I think working on that spontaneity, a lot of really cool things happen out of it.
I guess my biggest question is, how do you even pitch an idea like this to your friends or your possible cast and crew members? Like, how do you say, okay, we're going to the park. I don't have a script for you, but you're gonna act insane because that's what the movie is. Like, how do you pitch something like that to people?
That that is exactly what I said to them. Verbatim, well, and maybe not verbatim, but like that was like the vibe. Like
I was
that
there.
what I said. Yeah, it was a lot of I'm very grateful because it was a lot of trust. There's a lot of trust and people knowing that I was the head of the film, and they trusted the fact that the film could be something special. And I think that that gave me enough confidence to kind of push the idea forward into to areas in which I didn't see I could push it. And so a lot of that, the pitch kind of solidifying itself had to do with me trusting the people that I told the idea to, and those people giving me a lot of creative trust as well. And I think I'm so grateful for that. So that's basically how it operated and how the idea was even conceived, or how it even flew in the first place. So
was there anyone who was hesitant, or was everybody on board?
if people were hesitant, they kept it to themselves for sure.
They were there.
Like they'll come to set and they'll see something crazy, and they'd be like, I don't know why I'm here, but I'm gonna stay. Just to see what
I have to
happens.
wear the sheep mask the whole time.
Yeah. But I everybody that I worked with, they were incredible to work with. Like they totally just went with the chaos. And I think that is what helped fuel more of the chaos in the film. Just people just by accepting that this is what it was, and let's just give into it.
Yeah,
Right.
I think the more people you have on the same page, the easier everything goes. So that's cool that you had a team like that. Was there any moments though that was like, yo, like this was kind of frustrating, like difficult type of things where you were like, okay, yeah. What was the most frustrating, difficult stuff on set?
Yeah. So I think like the most frustrating thing on set was definitely scheduling, for sure.
Sure,
Um,
okay.
the schedule, like the same issues that we've talked about previously, but my producers did a great job with scheduling. But just like with scheduling, there's always something unpredictable that's going to happen, right? So because we have these very specific days in which we need to shoot that day, maybe someone is not gonna be on set, right? Or maybe someone's gonna show up late because oh no, I got a midterm, right? Like I totally forgot, right? Because being on set might be on the back of their mind because obviously they have academics to worry about. Um, I think that was a huge factor into what I had to sacrifice creatively as well. With the time constraints that I had, how could I kind of uh, be okay with bringing down like this expanse of creativity and only picking and choosing what I want.
Right. Just
And
concentrating your energy into specific
yeah,
moments. Yeah, that's now
for
you
sure,
got moments too. Yeah, damn.
for sure.
And what about like shooting guerrilla style? I mean, literally going out into Berkeley and I recognize a lot of the places, they're not good areas. Not good places to be at night.
Yeah, so that's why a big part of the audition process was be okay with doing some crazy stuff in public.
Uh-huh.
Surprisingly enough, we got really lucky, except
Wow.
for one time. One time, it was the second long take. It was a POV shot, right? And we had a large cast list that day. It was around 6 a.m., right? And because so many people were gathering around one spot, one of the store owners came out and was like, guys, get out of here. Like, get out of here. Like, get out of here. Like, you're like, why is it like a whole party of
Got him
college
shaky.
students?
Yeah.
Like, here at 6 a.m. in the middle of the street. Like, get out
Why
of
is
here.
this guy trying to sell me a bear?
Yeah. Who's this guy trying to sell me a bear? Like, this is crazy, right? Who are these guys in green masks? Like, it's kind of it is
Yeah,
a bizarre sight
Wow.
to see.
it's a little purgy.
I totally understood like his fears, so we just went to the block down.
Yeah. It just
So
shift.
that was just one that was just one thing that happened, and I'm glad that it was only one thing. So
Yeah. Damn, you got lucky. That's crazy. And then I guess my last question would be, what do you want people to take away from BAAAAA when they
yeah,
see it?
okay. Bot to me is a film about nonconformity. Uh, but I think even beyond that, it doesn't even need to be about nonconformity. I think that's the way that I perceive the work to be, just because I was so well connected to the work, and obviously I have my own philosophies about film and form and breaking rules. But I think that the biggest takeaway is that uh, film is a means for you to have your voice heard. And I think BAAAAA has so much of my own voice that I want other people to feel confident and sharing their voice, sharing their bizarre ideas, and breaking rules when they feel like they need to. And even if that's like an inherent quality for the filmmaker or for the artist or for the creator, which is breaking rules, I'd say give in to those urges, because that is what will really make that piece authentic to your voice and authentic to who you really are, because your work's a reflection of your own experiences. So that is the takeaway that I want people to have. Like, you'll watch this film and you will be mind blown or confused, or maybe you'll hate it, maybe you'll love it. But the one takeaway is, wait, I can do anything. Film can be anything. Right. So that's the biggest takeaway.
Some good
So
shit. Yeah, good
that's good
shit.
shit. That's good
All
shit right there.
That was deep, bro. That was deep. I like that. That was a good answer. Uh, the film was fun and immersive, bro. You did a really good job. I definitely think people will get what you were going for. I think the message was delivered. It's pretty fucking sick, dude. The movie's pretty cool. So,
Thank you so much, guys.
a
Yeah.
prop on
Thanks
that.
so much, Alex. Please come see Alex's film BAAAAAAA at Gardena Cinema, September 19th. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you then.
The Movie Screeners Club is produced by Designing Hollywood Productions in association with Gardena Cinema. If you want to win the chance to have your short film screened in a huge cinema and the opportunity to be interviewed on our podcast, please submit your short film today to moviescreenersclub@gmail.com. This episode was sponsored by Smokebreak Productions, addictively entertaining.